Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Smogcast. This is Gold Mason back with another interview. This time I am interviewing the Indie Scooters, here with their captains, Super Epic Ampharos and Zern.
Hello.
I am Zern.
Glad to have you guys aboard. I know everybody's excited to hear about your semifinals run last time. I know that you guys weren't the managers, but still both on the team. So everybody's excited to hear about that. But first, maybe just a little intro for each of you, starting with C.
Hey, I'm C. You might know me from random ADV things around the website. You might have also seen me in a few Jimothy Cool videos every now and then. I play basically every Generation 3 tier and have bounced around in random Gen 4 and Gen 5 tiers. I've been in SPL twice, once in 2022 with the Bigs, and once last year with the Scooters. I've managed all 4 editions of ADV Premier League and won all 4 as a manager. So that's partially why I wanted to try and manage SPL, and also partially because Zern is my best friend and I wouldn't leave him hanging.
That's very cute. All right, Zern, you're up.
Yeah, I'm Zern. I played Mons since mid-2015 or so. Much of that spent as a draft player, with not much investment in Smogon until mid-2020 or so, when I started dabbling in old gens as well as DOU. Then a bit later in 2021, I started actually playing on Smogon, just in DOU. 2022, I picked up OU, became a World Cup player for South. Kind of just been playing official since then. I was able to play in SPL 2023 and 2024. 2024 being a really fun tournament for me, one of my favorites on the website. It was really fun to work with our SV core. I got to team with C finally for a big tournament, and we had a good run, which helped. This year, I just wasn't really feeling the same fire as a player that I was in the past years, and with Dave moving away from managing, being the host for this edition, there was an empty spot on the Scooters, so I asked a couple friends, and we decided to give it a try as a manager. Try to finish what we started last year.
Absolutely, and I know that eyes will be on you to see if you can take it back this year, make it to finals. I'm sure that everybody is rooting for you.
Maybe some people.
Well, wanted to dive into some questions for you guys. We'll start with the draft because that is probably the most immediate on your mind. Going into this year's draft, were there any pools or generations, anything that stood out to you as challenging to plan for, or maybe you couldn't really decide on who you wanted, and so the draft as it progressed, anything like that?
Yeah, I can start for this. Personally, I'd say that all of the Masters gens were pretty challenging compared to the Classic gens and SV. SV was pretty straightforward since myself and Stresh, as well as Hellam, those two aren't here, but they're on our team as a manager and retain respectively. We're all SV players primarily, so that was pretty simple to plan for, as well as already having a player covered. And then Classic gens, I just felt like most of the players there were fairly established, pretty clear who would be playing, whereas for the Masters gens, 6, 7, and 8, there were a few top players at the end of each pool, and then the drop-off after that, in my opinion, was pretty large, and then the rest could be filled out with a dozen or so people, either who have historically been pretty solid or up-and-comers, as well as the fact that a good few players in those tiers just could slot in ORAS, but they could also slot in SS, or maybe they could slot in SFV or random old gen or what have you. So it was difficult for me to get a clear picture of who exactly would be playing those tiers, and kind of just figure it out as we went in the draft once our initial plan fell through, but I'm happy with how it went.
Yeah, I think especially towards the top end of the pools, as he was saying, it was kind of hard to gauge how other people were going to value those really high-end players. We didn't know how big they were going to go on them, if they're going to make them a big team piece or whatever. So it was kind of weird trying to plan the budgeting around that. And
Gotcha. All right, that makes a lot of sense. Um, continuing with the auction, did you guys feel like you got away with any big steals? Any players go for a lot less than you were planning on? And
Um, I think personally, being sort of in the know mostly about old gens, I think like Ruer going, I think went for 6 or 7K. I thought
We
that
were up for
was
7, I believe. Yeah.
yeah, he was really cheap. And PKL Sweep for you went for like, was it 10 or was it 7?
Yeah. Pico went for 10.
Yeah.
We never expected to be able to get him. We were just upbidding, and then we landed him. So we edited our budget.
Yeah, and Sedlicius also went for 3K, which, to be honest, I wasn't that surprised about. I thought they would be up it a little bit more,
I
but
fully expected 3K, but I know our budget was higher for them as well.
it was. I know people don't rate them very highly because blah 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 sheet record blah blah blah. So I was hoping for like a 3K like budget, but like I didn't actually expect to just be like, okay, just free 3K, awesome.
yeah, said Lysius, unfortunately, the PRs came out today and they were rated 9th in the ADV PRs, which, as the person who wrote the ADV PRs, very, very surprised by that ranking. But
Yeah, we weren't too surprised. Sheet track record isn't great, but Sadly's been really good for the past couple of years in invitationals and done fine in other tours. Beat McMegan last year, in fact, so they'll do well.
yeah, exactly. I just think I think that will prove to be a pretty good slot for you guys. So, last auction question. Were there any other big surprises during the auction? Not necessarily just for your team, but in general, any surprises that you saw that you, I don't know, thought were interesting?
Oh, sure. I was pretty surprised that Forbes went for 20K. We were looking at him for an SM player because me and Stretch are good friends with him, Helm too, and we rated SM pretty highly. We know that he went for around 20K in SCL too, but he did pretty poorly in that tour, 3-6. So to see him go for 20K again is pretty surprising in my mind. As for like someone on the lower end who I didn't expect to go for that cheap, I'd say Fade John went for like 9K, I want to say, despite being one of the best ORS players over the past couple of years, as well as like very proficient in SM when he plays in S Tour. I know that SM isn't his main gen, but I feel like he'll do pretty well for that. And if he has to ORS, then that's a great slot. The other one, this no-name guy, was very hyped up going into the auction. Then he went for 6K and then got banned immediately. So that was surprising.
Yeah, that was surprising. I think just in general.
Yeah,
No one really expected that. Going
silly
in.
little Karen.
He won like a bunch of circuits and a bunch of different stuff, and then just unfortunately banned. So yeah, definitely good surprises. But yeah, let's move on from the auction. What do you want people to associate with the scooters this season? Or is there like a particular brand or something that you're looking to establish for the team?
Hey, 2 words. Warrior spirit, baby. Next question.
Warrior spirit.
Warrior spirit. The Dave tagline. Beautiful. All right. Well, yeah, next question indeed. Similar in that vein, is there any storyline you're going to be following this season? Anything that you are looking forward to watching this SPL as a spectator or as a manager?
Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. I think me personally, I'm really interested in watching the DPP pool this year. Hopefully we get a full season of BKC. I know last couple years has been kind of shaky, but I hope we see a full season of BKC. Void after the 9-0. I want to see him come back, see how he does. I think that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And I also want to watch Solwind at the top of the black and white pool. He was voted unanimous number 1 on the PRs, and I feel like he's one of the greats of our generation, so to speak. And I'm excited to watch him work and see what he can put together this season.
Awesome. Personally, I'm pretty excited to watch the SV pool for a couple reasons. Firstly, like a lot of the big name SV players from the first couple years of the gen have moved on for various reasons. Mind gaming, choosing to delete a sign up at the last second, Stresh managing our team, Vert still missing in action, although not sure you would signed up anyway, but his influence won't be seen. CTC gone from the website for the time being. So we'll see how the tier develops with a lot of big name builders out of the equation, as well as will we see another 9-0 from a lower ranked player? Because in the first SVSPL, we saw Mincemeat come in at like a very cheap price, like 5K. I think they were rated in the bottom half of the PRs, and then he swept regular season 9-0. Helm did the same thing the following season, and then this past SCL as well, we saw PU 9-0 in the regular season. All of them not having too high of expectations going in, but overperforming. So, see if there's another one. Otherwise, I want to see how the bigs do. Obviously, they have like an all-time manager trio over there with Tony, ABR, and XCal. But the last time Tony and ABR managed a team, I believe they just barely missed playoffs a couple seasons ago. So we'll see if they can get redemption for that. And XCal has of course struggled historically with SPL despite his SCL success, as well as the fact that they are on one of the worst teams of all time. So see if they can bring it back there. Also, hope that the Tigers make playoffs so that we can beat them this time, because fuck the Tigers.
Damn, fuck the Tigers, got it.
Fuck the Tigers.
All right. Well, last question for you, and this one's for you, Zern. Though obviously, see, you can chip in if you'd like. Which newcomers to SPL are you the most excited to watch this year? There's quite a few of them. We actually tagged them in the PR thread. I didn't realize that they did that, but I saw it and I was like, that's really cool.
A couple of those guys are not actually newcomers, but most of them are.
Are there any that you're excited to watch this year?
Yeah. Mr. Soup, dangerous low gen low tier player. We've known about him for a little while for random bullshit. But last year, he actually went on a pretty killer ADV circuit run, beat Starmaster, beat Odin, want to say beat someone else. Didn't win the ribbon, but pretty funny to see someone we know from like GSC low tiers and Black White ZU go on a run like that. And then this year, GSC Invitational really showed up there and actually became like a top 10 starter caliber GSCer for this season. So we'll see how he can translate that success. Otherwise, kind of just looking forward to see how my friends do. Got a few playing for the first time, Nicole, ZS, among others, so hope for their success.
Yeah, I'm personally looking forward especially to the Scarf, who I've seen him around when I used to play Uber's tours, and I know he's like very well known in AG for being like super good. And also Nicole, and even though this isn't like a debut for Pack, it's basically a debut for him in ADV, so I'm really excited to see how he does as well.
Played UU in the past, but it's first time playing ADV, finally.
Yeah.
Been a few years coming from to actually sign up.
I'm going to throw in one more question, just because I'm curious.
Yeah.
I know you guys mentioned that, your 6 through 8 roster was a little weaker, or maybe a little bit harder to plan for at least. How are you guys feeling about your overall lineup leaving the auction? What do you guys think you guys are going to be working on the most in the builder or in prep? And is there any other scooter insights that we could possibly get?
Confidential information. Just kidding. I think it's possible you might see some rotation throughout the season, throughout the Masters tiers. We have several people who we could sort of mix and match around there, so I think it's entirely possible that you see some lineup changes throughout the season. It sort of depends on how people are doing, but also depends on maybe people's availability, or maybe even like a certain player matchup. I think it's entirely possible that we have like 3 different SM players this season, for instance.
I'm content with our initial lineup, but there are definitely potential alterations that we could see throughout the season depending on how things go. Old gens are a bit more set in stone, I'd say. There's a little bit of flexibility, but ideally our 5 there will be sticking to the end of the season. So we do have subs for most of those tiers if something goes wrong for whatever reason. Then SV, we have CERN in the back benching for the start of the season, but he's a very capable player, could move up to the starting roster should anyone have to sub out for whatever reason. As for like prep tidbits, don't be too surprised if Sudolicius loads something that is not on the ADV VR or that has never been loaded in SPL before for reasons for C to go into if she wants to.
So you're telling me that we're gonna have another electrode incident?
Hey, it won. That's all I'm saying. It won.
It did win.
So did Rapidash.
I don't think Electrode was supposed to win.
No, it was. It was supposed to win.
I don't know about that. I need to watch the tapes. I need to go back and watch the tapes. I don't remember Electrode being supposed to win that match. All right, well, thank you guys so much for sparing the time. Really appreciate it. If there's anything else you want to leave with the viewers, feel free.
Fuck the Tigers.
Fuck the Tigers. Fuck Attribute too.
Got it. All right. Well, this has been Gold Mason with Super Epic Ampharos and Zern, and we will see you guys next time on another Smogcast.
Peace.
Goodbye.